Hi, I'm Alana Miller, MD. I'm an integrative psychiatrist and two-time cancer survivor, and I mentor psychiatrists on integrative psychiatry protocols and business strategies to be successful in private practice. So have you heard of ChatGPT, the AI language model that seems like it's going to completely upend writing and content creation for the foreseeable future? So I was curious when it first came out last month, so I started messing around with it a little bit, and then I watched some YouTube videos on how to best use it, and it's completely blowing my mind. It's a total game changer for making content and will completely change the skill sets that are valuable, I think, away from writing to asking the right questions and putting in the right prompts. So I have a private practice career mentorship program, and at my last Q&A call, I spent a few minutes presenting on ChatGPT and how it can be useful for our purposes as psychiatrists in private practice. From writing website content to editing content for clarity to writing blog posts and even legal documents. There are even a few use cases that I thought of after recording this video. Today I wanted to share that clip with you, so let's jump in and I'll see you there.
Let's see here. I'm going to go over 4 use cases for this and give little examples. One, writing website content. By that I mean like you're building your website. I know a lot of you already have your websites, but I'll just go over kind of if you were to build your website using this, but also kind of you can edit your website content or build off of and increase your website content, like your like homepage, about me page, those kinds of pages. Rewriting content to improve writing and clarity, like you write a draft of something and then you feel like the grammar is not good or it's unclear. You can literally copy and paste, make this more clear, and it will do it. I'll show you some examples. Writing legal documents, like I was playing around with it. It can write terms and conditions, medical disclaimer, privacy policy. And then last, I'm going to go over writing blog posts and show you how you can start with a thesis and a topic and kind of write a whole blog post using it. And so I'll just jump right into it. It's really amazing. So this is ChatGPT. Essentially, I mean, I can't explain the tech of it. It's a language model. So people understand it's not connected to the internet. And it doesn't know anything that happened after like 2021. So it's not searching the web. It's purely based on the language people speak, and it doesn't understand the content of what it's saying. It just purely knows language. So where it's useful is writing things. It's not as useful with calculations or like searching information on the internet. Like there are certain ways I think actually ChatGPT is more useful than doing a Google search, but not when it comes to looking up information that you're trying to find on the internet. So let me just show an example. So I just typed in, "Hi, how are you today?" And this is how it answered. I mean, so you can have like a conversation with it. So let me kind of, and this is a chat. So that was just to kind of do a little demonstration. Let me do a new chat and talk about like website content. So let's say I'm writing an introductory paragraph on my website about integrative psychiatry, and I'm trying to explain this to potential patients. So I'm an integrative psychiatrist. Can you write an introductory paragraph I can use on my website that describes integrative psychiatry to potential new patients? And it's pretty good. Okay, so I'll tell you like one thing I noticed here. It says our practice, but I'm a solo private practitioner. You can ask it to rewrite. Now, sometimes it does this a little awkwardly, like I don't want to say as a solo private practitioner, but it changes the we's to I. Now, I'm like, this is great. This is a great first paragraph, but I want to add more to it. I'm a cancer survivor. Can you write a second paragraph I could use that explains how, because of my experience with cancer. I understand trauma and difficulties my patients may have experienced. I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, right? Yeah, I mean, that I'm reading this and like I could copy and paste that onto my website. So, and let me show you another example. So, here's another thing. Let me show you an example. Obviously, you like already have a website, but let me put this to the side. Let's say I experimented with this. So let me just copy and paste my credentials, which are in bullet format. Here are my credentials. Can you write this in paragraph form? So let's see, I want to use it. I have it listed somewhere on my website in bullet points, but I also want, you know, like a paragraph on my About Me page. Let me show you another example. So I have, let's see here, little like blurbs on the outcome from like an outcome standpoint of what I help people with certain disorders. So let's just take the anxiety one. Here is a sentence on my website. Can you write a short paragraph that could follow? Now notice I didn't tell it what to write about. I just gave it the prompt. And let's say I read this and I'm like, that's a little vague, or I want some more details. Can you add that I do cognitive behavioral therapy? So it's really in the revisions it becomes powerful. When I was first messing with this prior to watching some videos on how to use it, I was like, yeah, this is okay. But it's the follow-up. And what's the other thing I was gonna show? Okay, here's the other thing I was gonna show. Let's say I'm like a really terrible writer. So I am a psychiatrist. This is me trying to write a paragraph, like an intro paragraph for my website. I'm really good. I have good credentials listed above. This is an important thing. Within a chat, it remembers everything. So you don't have to remind it of stuff you've already said earlier. But if you do a new chat, that's like wiping the slate clean. So I'm not retyping anything. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm really good. I have good credentials listed above. I care about people. I practice holistic psychiatry. Can you rephrase this but make it more eloquent? So you can literally type in like, make this better. But I would say the quality of the prompt that you type in really matters. And this is what I was kind of alluding to on the forum, where I was saying writing is no longer going to be a valuable skill in our society. Like, it's kind of freaking me out a little bit, but this is the direction things are going. And yet, so there's still going to be some qualities that are valuable. And what's going to stratify people, and it's going to be the ability to ask the right question. And I then, going on kind of like a side note, charisma and personality, video, I think is going to become more important. It's going to be so easy to put content online that I think videos where your personality is coming through is going to become more valuable. Like, you can already bet SEO farms are like in India and stuff are already doing this and just churning out content on everything. So, but you can use this to write scripts if you're making video. And I'm getting a little bit on a tangent because we don't have to worry about like major social media presences for our businesses. But I was just kind of thinking like, what's going to happen in the future with content now that it's so easy to kind of make it? But it's really the quality of your idea and the prompt you type in. So let me just show you, this is kind of less exciting, but I'll just show you what it can do with, now I'm creating a new chat with writing terms and conditions or like legal documents. So again, this is a new chat, so I'm gonna set the parameters. I'm gonna let it know who I am. I'm a psychiatrist in private practice. Can you write a sample terms and conditions I can use for my website? Actually, I'll be more clear. I'll say medical disclaimer. Okay, and as I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, this is good. I'm like, it sounds a little formal though. So let's say I want it more casually phrased. Can you phrase more casually and less legal sounding?
Well, I thought one of the cool things too, when I was watching this, where you could actually say, write it again so a fifth grader could understand it.
Yeah, totally. That's another good way to put it. Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, let's try that. Rewrite it so a fifth grader could understand. It's really good, huh? Yeah. It's like very simple. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, and I kind of experimented with making it terms and conditions, and like you can add like I'm in California. Wait, let's do a different one. Can you write terms and conditions, including that I'm including anything relevant to being located in California? Practice is, I mean, you kind of get the point, so I won't belabor it because this could be a long one. I'm just curious if it's what's it going to put in that's from California, if anything. Yeah, I kind of put California there. All right. So let me move now to the part that I think is really interesting and powerful, which is writing like blog posts. So let's say I want to write a blog post on integrative, and it's for my website to kind of advertise my private practice from the standpoint of patients coming to my website and they're looking at content I've written to kind of sell them on. I know what I'm talking about. So I want to talk about integrative approaches to ADHD and explain how like I use this with my patients. So let's say now we're in a new chat. So I'm going to kind of restate the premise. I'm a psychiatrist in private practice. I want to write a blog post on integrative approaches to ADHD that I use with my patients to provide psychoeducation and entice potential new patients to come see me. All right, so that was the premise. I found that the more kind of work you put into the premise, it really makes the rest of it better. Can you, let's say, describe in bullet points 5 topics I could cover in this blog post? Actually, I don't like this much. So, I mean, I think that's okay. Like, can you be more specific? Okay, this is a little bit better. So let's say I am going to, let's say I want to take this first one and make an introductory paragraph on this. So let's say I have kind of the premise of what it's going to be in the content that's going to be in this blog post. And so I say, okay, can you write an introductory paragraph for this blog post on the benefits of taking an integrative approach when treating ADHD? Can you, let's say I'm like, that's just a little formal. Can you make it less formal and from the perspective that I use an integrative, let's say, and end explaining that I use an integrative approach. Sorry, guys. With my patient. This I like a little bit better. This is kind of what I was going for, like, because I'm trying to sell myself and my practice. So, I mean, I would kind of like edit that last sentence, but then let me just show you, and then you can kind of go through, like, can you write a paragraph on the role of nutrition in managing ADHD? So you kind of go bullet point by bullet point and you get it to write a paragraph, and then you're kind of putting it all together. Okay, I'm like, rewrite, but make it less sciencey. Oops, I misspelled that, but it'll probably know what I mean. I'm just curious if we'll do this. It worked when I was playing with it earlier. This is something I was experimenting with based on that video I kind of linked to on the forum, but rewrite that paragraph and make it funny. Kind of funny and tongue-in-cheek, but in a way that's still professional. See, it's not that bad. I like it. That made me laugh. So, like, its ability to rewrite tone is pretty amazing. Like, make it more formal, make it more casual, make it more sciencey, make it for a fifth grader, make it for college student, make it funny, make it serious.
In the chat, there's a couple of folks with concerns about
copyright
or
Yeah, it's funny. That's what someone else said. I'm like, there's no copyright. I mean, this literally just came out weeks ago, so it's a great question. It's at some point who owns it, but it's like currently it's I don't know if this is eventually going to be a paid service or what their eventual like profit model will be, but right now it's in beta testing, and so they want people to use it in order to test it, in order to improve the software. I have no idea like what their eventual long-term plan is, but but yeah, I mean, that's not copyrighted by ChatGPT. Like you can take that. I can tell you people are. I mean, people are like high school students are writing papers with this, and it's like driving teachers crazy. And but teachers are kidding themselves if they can like fight against it. I mean, think of it this way. Like doing long division in arithmetic is no longer a skill. Like we learned that in school, but it's not really a valuable skill that we need in society anymore. We don't need to know how to use an abacus anymore. We use calculators, yet math is a very valuable skill. So I think a version of that is going to happen with writing. I don't think I have to keep for my kids. I know.
In the sense of, I know you like automation because it helps with efficiency. How do you keep from going down the rabbit hole of rewriting things so that it rhymes or sounds like
oh God, like
a country song? Or
yeah, right. If you're right, yeah, you could really kind of like have some fun. I mean, I haven't had that problem because you know, I always just think about doing things like 75% good enough in situation like that. You know, so I personally don't try to make things perfect because you can like hamstring yourself and never make progress. But yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I can tell you my husband is making all of his content for his business with for his company Healthspan.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is my fiance did my whole website with that.
Yeah. Okay.
He does gas lines for Centerpoint. He doesn't know anything about psychiatry, but he did a really good job with it in terms of like what I wrote down for him to ask about and say. And I'm just leaving it because I actually really like it. But it's a different website that he did it on, some AI website, which I just texted him to tell me which website it was. He's at work, but there's another website or organization or something that also does it, but it's just like an AI kind of thing that it's not really copyrighted. It's all just off of what you ask. So
yeah, it's interesting. Like there's so much. I can't say that this is an area that I have a lot of knowledge in. And it really was only because ChatGPT was like so much in the news. I was like, I gotta look this up. But they've already been making art with AI. You know, like art from AI was winning art.
That's what he said. He said everything's gonna be. You know, he's obsessed with AI stuff. But he was like, this is great. Everything will be that way eventually, like you were talking about the math and different things. So, but yeah, so it is a little bit scary in a way that anybody could probably do a website and put that stuff on there. But it turned out really good. So
yeah, I mean, it's something will still be important. Like human beings are remarkably good at caring about status, and like something needs to be better, someone needs to be worse, and we stratify ourselves. So if everyone can write, we'll figure out something else that we value that's not writing. It'll just change. And I don't know exactly what it is, but I do think like whatever can't be replicated is going to be what is more important, which is another reason to kind of really like lean into your uniqueness. If you're making content, like make it something that not just like the words, but the philosophy you're communicating is something that's unique to you, that couldn't come from someone else, or is like shows a unique perspective and point of view. Because just information is going to be just so easy.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I kind of gave him, like a list of my unique qualities and what to, like just different things. And then, I mean, I changed a little bit of it, but otherwise, I mean, if you have, everyone still is going to be unique in what they do. So it still represents you pretty well, I think.
Yeah. And also like, I just am showing you kind of the basics, and I'm not even like so skilled at using it. There's probably so much that I don't know. And I think the people who are not early adopters will be left behind. So like, I think it's the sooner you start learning how to use it and get kind of comfort with it, the better. And this has really just been out weeks, so we all can like be there first.
So I'm curious, from your perspective, so for somebody like me, my practice has been open about 6 months or so now. The website content is already there. I'm seeing ChatGPT as a way to start writing blog content when I wasn't really planning on doing that at any point this year to scale and add for the SEO. If I need to add if I'm going to do the autism assessment, it helps me write that page of a website. What else could you see it being useful for other than those things? Or do you feel like that might be sort of the main thing it could be useful for somebody like me?
I think those are the main things. Like especially blog content, because blog content is one of those things I haven't really encouraged people to do because it's a lot of work and it has returns. It is returns, but they're smaller returns, but that has changed the whole dynamic because now it's so much faster to write. And so the advantage of blog content for you, Jess, for us, is that it's not that patients are going to find you via SEO for the most part. It's that patients who come to your website because they heard of you some other way are going to see, they're going to read like everything on your website. When they're debating between you or deciding between you and another psychiatrist, they're going to like read your website with a fine tooth comb, and they'll see like, oh my God, Jess wrote a blog post describing exactly like what I deal with, my problem and how he treats it. That's the psychiatrist I want to see. And even kind of writing personal story stuff of that maybe is going to like related to kind of your journey in the LGBTQ space. And if that's something that you wanted to share, like I'm sure that would attract patients who are like, oh my God, this person's really going to get me. And it might not have been worth your time to write before, especially if for those of you who don't consider yourselves like strong writers or comfortable writers, you're kind of learning a whole new skill set. You don't have to learn the skill set anymore. You can just do it. And like, for example, too, even if you're doing video, let's say you use it to write a blog post and then you just make that into a video. You kind of read it, but you add some kind of conversational flair to it. You could even probably take that blog post, put it in ChatGPT, like now rewrite this so it's more of a script to be spoken. And then you can record a video and put that on YouTube and then embed that into your website. So that's kind of where I see it being most useful for those of you here who maybe already have your websites. But like, I would say like really you could be so creative. Like I hadn't thought about it from the perspective of writing assessments. I mean, maybe you can even write notes with it. I mean, I don't know, like there's probably like so many things we're not even thinking of. I'm sure Intake Q will make an integration with ChatGPT. They would be ones to do that. That'd be great.
And the AI that writes notes for you is so expensive right now.
Oh, is it? Yeah, they're going out of business. Who's freaking out right now? Copywriters, writers. I was kind of looking on freelance websites, like on Reddit, people discussing like freelance writing, and like some people are in denial. Some people see the writing on the wall. I still think there's gonna be times when you hire a freelance writer, but the freelance writer will be using ChatGPT. That's just more that it's not worth your time to even do the blog post. You just want to give them 5 bullet points and say, you write this and give it back to me. Like it's still a skill set there. It's just going to change what the skill set is. Yeah. I mean, if you go through that video I linked to on the post, like even if you're going through like the text video game example, I mean, you could use it to like plot out a novel too. This was really freaking me out as someone who's writing a book. I'm like, oh, wow, all that work is worthless now. And I was trying to experiment with a little bit to see if it would help me write scenes, and I couldn't get it to work. But I'm sure someone else can.
I was looking at something as well where they had, it would give you 4 different options where, it would tell a story and then it would give an ABCD format.
Exactly.
And what would happen next. And then you make the selection of, I decided to exit the door. And then what happened next.
Yeah. Like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, it was, it's fascinating. This reminds me, even though at the time I maybe wasn't as knowledgeable then, but I remember my buddy saying back to me a long time ago when Google was first coming out, and I was so amazed by Google, and it was like, this is so cool. If only I would have invested money in Google back then. But it's fascinating to me.
Oh yeah, like the early days. I mean, you do like when Google first came out, you didn't even know how like your life was going to be changed in the next 10 years and 20 years or whatever. It's kind of astronomical, and so it's kind of like making my head hurt, like a little bit, thinking of how this is going to change things. But I just was like overwhelmed for a second. I'm like, I just have to figure out how to use it to my advantage and be kind of on the early end of adopting it rather than in denial that this is the direction things are going in.
I was just surprised as well when I brought it up to my 24-year-old daughter today, and she had never heard of it. So
oh my gosh,
so
oh man,
like, wow, the old 57-year-old man was
oh my gosh, yeah, like that's funny. You had one on top of her. Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's crazy. It just came out. This is so recent, and but now it's constantly in the news, so people are gonna pick up on it. Oh, I saw Jess about your high school teacher friends are, yeah, work with it rather than against it. I mean, completely, because I still think like from my first experience trying to do it by myself, and then after watching a YouTube video and then I was doing it a lot better, it's a skill set. So it's a valuable skill that if you can use it effectively, you'll be ahead of the game. Like, so I don't think it's like, oh, writing is a skill, or this entire area of skill sets isn't useful. It's just going to be slightly different.
Sorry, I missed a little part because I jumped off to see a patient and logged back on. You may have covered this. Do you think that this is something that like someone like an assistant could generate something and then you kind of approve it, or are you working through it each step that you know what I mean?
Okay, this is what I would say. This is the problem with an assistant, is that what's really important with this is judgment. So I'm not saying like an assistant doesn't have judgment, but like the kind of person that's going to put out of business is like a lower level person who's just executing the work, because ChatGPT is executing the work. And it takes some judgment to be able to know how to refine the answer. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would say you're maybe finding a more skilled person and paying them more, but they're doing the work faster rather than trying to outsource it inexpensively.
Okay, so generating it requires judgment along the way. It's not just like do this and it spits something out.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
You kind of have to refine it in steps.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying, how my fiance did it for me. But I made like a guideline on what I wanted and what my unique things were, and how to go with it. And you can still change it too, by going back in and looking at it and changing things around. But it was nice to have him do that.
If I were hiring someone to use ChatGPT to write stuff for me, what I would probably do is first figure out the best system on my own and write a blog post, and then demonstrate that with screen share recording and talk through, here's why I'm doing this, here's why I'm doing that. First, you come up with the initial prompt, then you come up with topics, then you have it write paragraphs. But I don't like this phrasing. Here's what I type when I want to change the phrasing. And then you can kind of teach someone your thought process. And so I would say like you can maybe do it once yourself, and then maybe outsource it once you've figured out the system.
Yeah. And I just did it too, not like a blog post, but more of just like introduction and what I do in terms of like gene site testing. It can tell you all about gene site testing.
Yeah.
So just different things that I can give you information on my website.
It's true. It's like crazy how much faster it's making things. Ingrid is making me laugh. Just what Ingrid just put in the chat. Oh my God. That's really funny. Yeah, there'll be maybe that actually would be a good, if you play a musical instrument, you make it into a little song, put that on YouTube. That shows a lot of character. Maybe write it into like a rap that you perform.
I hope you found that helpful and it gave you some ideas for how you can use ChatGPT to optimize content creation in a psychiatry practice. If you're a psychiatrist or psych NP interested in starting or growing a private practice, but needing some practical guidance on the business systems and strategies to get you there, click the link below to get access to my free training video on accelerating your private practice and learn more about my career mentorship program. So you'll click that link, scroll to the bottom, enter your name and email, and you'll immediately get access to the video. I'll also send you some follow-up tips about building a private practice and integrative psychiatry, including my high-yield integrative protocol for bipolar disorder. Here's that link again, and I'll see you there.